The smallest bobcat anyone had ever laid eyes on sat shaking on the cold metal exam table, his golden eyes wide with terror and pain. When Dr. Marcus Bennett gently examined his twisted back leg, he knew this wasn't just a simple fracture. What he discovered during the emergency surgery hours later would leave him questioning everything he thought he knew about survival against impossible odds. Before you watch, remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss another touching story like this one, and write in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. Ryan Mitchell, a wildlife rescue officer in the Colorado mountains, had just finished his coffee when the call came through from the old fire station on Highway 7. Something was stuck in the drainage system, crying for hours. When Ryan arrived and heard the sound coming from deep within the pipes, his heart sank. It wasn't the usual angry hissing. It was a weak, broken crying that spoke of pain and complete desperation. It took him nearly 2 hours to locate the source, crawling through tight spaces with only a headlamp to guide him. When he finally reached the cub wedged into a corner where 2 pipes met, what he saw made him want to cry himself. The tiniest bobcat cub he'd ever seen was pressed against the cold concrete, his spotted fur matted with mud and dried blood. One back leg was bent at an angle that made Ryan's stomach turn. The cub's eyes, huge and golden, were glazed with fever and pain. "Oh, sweetheart," Ryan whispered. "What happened to you?" The cub was too weak to pull away when Ryan reached for him. As Ryan carefully made his way back through the pipes, cradling the injured cub against his chest, he noticed something strange. The cub kept making small sounds, not typical bobcat vocalizations. These were different, softer, almost like the cub was trying to talk, making little chirps and trills that changed pitch like someone asking questions. The question that haunted Ryan as he drove toward Dr. Marcus Bennett's veterinary clinic was one he couldn't answer. Where was this baby's mother? Bobcat mothers never abandon their cubs, never. They'll fight bears, mountain lions, even humans to protect their young. The only answer made his chest ache. She was dead. She had to be. When Ryan burst through the clinic door, Dr. Marcus Bennett immediately dropped everything. The cub couldn't have weighed more than 4 pounds, far too small to be separated from his mother. His breathing was rapid and shallow, his body temperature dangerously high, and that back leg was completely shattered. As Marcus gently laid the cub on the exam table, the tiny creature made a sound that stopped everyone in the room. It was a chirp, rising and falling in pitch, followed by a soft trill. Then he lifted one small paw and tapped it against the table. Once, twice, 3 times, like someone knocking on a door, asking to be let in. "Did you see that?" Jennifer, Marcus's assistant, whispered. Marcus nodded slowly. "I've never seen a bobcat do that before. It's almost like he's trying to communicate." "He's been doing it the whole drive," Ryan said, making those sounds like he's talking. The cub chirped again, softer this time, and his golden eyes found Marcus's face. Despite his obvious pain and fear, he maintained eye contact. It was like he understood that these were the people who could help him, like he was asking, pleading for that help in the only language he had. "What are we going to call him?" Jennifer asked. "Whisper," Ryan said, "because of the way he communicates, like he's whispering to us." The examination revealed devastating injuries. The back leg was completely fractured, the bone broken clean through. His temperature was 104.3 degrees, dangerously high. His heartbeat was rapid and irregular. He was severely dehydrated and hadn't eaten in days. Based on reports, the cub had been trapped in those pipes for 3 or 4 days. For a cub this young, that was an eternity. Marcus started IV fluids immediately and prepared a feeding syringe with specialized formula. The moment Whisper caught the scent, despite his weakness and pain, his ears perked forward, and he made that chirping sound again, this time with desperate hope. He latched onto the syringe with surprising strength, drinking with the urgency of someone who thought they might never eat again. Between gulps, he made small squeaking sounds, and his eyes never left Marcus's face. When the feeding was done, Whisper reached out with one paw and gently touched Marcus's hand. His claws retracted, his golden eyes blinking slowly. "He's thanking you," Ryan said, his voice thick with emotion. That's when Marcus's phone rang. Wildlife Officer Linda Pearson from Colorado Parks and Wildlife was returning his report call. "Dr. Bennett, given the severity of the injuries, I'm going to have to recommend humane euthanasia." Linda's voice was professional, detached. Marcus felt his blood run cold. "He's got a broken leg and dehydration. Those are treatable. Bobcats are not endangered in Colorado. The cost of surgery, the rehabilitation time, the low probability of successful release. It's not a prudent use of resources. You have until end of business today to make arrangements. This isn't about resources. This is about a living being who's already survived against impossible odds. He deserves a chance. My decision is final, Dr. Bennett. I'll need confirmation by 5 p.m. The line went dead. Marcus looked at Whisper, who was watching him with those impossibly expressive golden eyes. As if sensing the conversation had been about him, the cub made a soft, questioning chirp, then did his 3-knock pattern again. Tap, 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 asking for help. "I'm going to save his life," Marcus said firmly. "If that means I lose my wildlife rehabilitation license, so be it." Marcus and Jennifer immediately prepped the surgical suite. But as they worked, Whisper's condition began to deteriorate rapidly. His fever climbed, 104.3, then 104.8, then 105.2. "Marcus, his temp is climbing," Jennifer said, her voice tight with worry. By morning, Whisper wouldn't eat, he wouldn't drink, he wouldn't even lift his head. He lay completely still, his breathing shallow and rapid, his eyes half closed and glazed. Dr. Sarah Chen called with the blood results. "Marcus, his white blood cell count is through the roof. This is septicemia. The infection has entered his bloodstream. If you don't operate in the next 12 hours, he won't make it." Whisper had stopped making his chirping sounds. His heart rate hit 220, dangerously high. His blood pressure was dropping. "We need to operate now, or we're going to lose him," Sarah said. Marcus looked at the tiny cub, so small and helpless. "Call Linda Pearson. Tell her we're performing emergency surgery. Tell her if she wants to stop us, she'll have to come pull me out of that operating room herself." Calculating anesthesia for an animal weighing only 4.1 pounds was terrifying. Too little, and Whisper would wake up during surgery. Too much, and his struggling heart would simply stop. Marcus drew the calculated dose with hands that had never felt less steady. "Once I administer this, there's no going back," he said quietly. "He's strong enough," Jennifer said firmly. "Look at what he's already survived. Give him the chance to prove it." Marcus administered the anesthesia through the IV line. Slowly, Whisper's small body relaxed. His eyes closed fully. His breathing became more regular. "He's under," Sarah confirmed. "But Marcus, we need to work fast. His condition is extremely fragile." Marcus made the first incision. Whisper was so small, his leg barely larger than Marcus's thumb. Every movement had to be precise, controlled, perfect. As he carefully separated the layers of tissue, what he found made him pause. Around the fracture, the tissue was dark, inflamed, showing severe infection. But the edges of the wound showed evidence of old trauma. older than the 3 or 4 days in the pipes. "This injury is at least a week old," Marcus said. "See the early healing? This break happened before he got stuck. His mother died at least a week ago. He's been surviving on his own, with a broken leg, until he finally got trapped." The realization made the room fall silent. This tiny creature had survived for a week or more in the wilderness with a broken leg. He'd kept himself alive against odds that should have killed him within days. "He's a fighter," Sarah said softly. Marcus began cleaning out the infected tissue, removing every trace of bacteria while preserving healthy tissue. It was painstaking work, requiring absolute concentration. "Suction," he said quietly, and Jennifer immediately cleared away blood. The infection had spread along the bone, eating away at healthy tissue, weakening the structure. For a cub this small, with a body already weakened by days of starvation. "Marcus, his heart rate is dropping," Sarah said. 180, 165, 150. Blood pressure is falling too. "How's his oxygen saturation?" "Holding at 94%, but then we keep going." But then the alarm on the heart monitor changed its tone. The steady beep became irregular. Beep, 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 beep. "Arrhythmia," Sarah said. Then the alarm changed again to the long, continuous tone that means only one thing. Flatline. "We're losing him," Sarah shouted. "No pulse. Start compressions, now," Marcus barked. Sarah immediately began chest compressions with 2 fingers. "Epi ready?" Marcus called. "Ready," Jennifer confirmed. "Administer it. Continue compressions." The seconds ticked by. 10 seconds, 20, 30. The monitor remained flat. "Come on, Whisper," Marcus said urgently. "You didn't survive a week alone to give up now. Fight, fight for it." 40 seconds, 50 seconds. "Second dose of Epi," Marcus ordered. "Increase oxygen to maximum." 1 minute, 1 minute 30 seconds. "Marcus," Sarah said gently, "we've been at this for over a minute. No, keep going, he's still fighting." 2 minutes, then a blip on the monitor. So small it might have been a malfunction. Another blip, then another, stronger. "We've got something," Sarah said. The blips became more regular, forming into a rhythm. Weak at first, but definitely there. "Heart rate coming back," Sarah reported, her voice shaking. 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160. Stabilizing at 170. "We've got him back." Marcus exhaled. His hands were trembling. "Okay, let's not waste this second chance. We're going to finish this surgery." With renewed determination, Marcus realigned the bone fragments and stabilized them with surgical wire and bioabsorbable screws. His hands were steady now, all emotion pushed aside in favor of pure skill. The final sutures went in with meticulous care. When Marcus finally stepped back from the table, 2 hours and 40 minutes had passed since the first incision. "You did it," Jennifer said. "Marcus, you actually did it." They moved Whisper to the recovery area with continuous monitoring. Marcus refused to leave his side. It was nearly midnight when Whisper's eyes finally fluttered open. Confused at first, they darted around before landing on Marcus's face. Then Whisper made a sound. Weak, barely audible. That same chirping trill. "Welcome back," Marcus said softly. "You scared us pretty badly there." Over the next few days, Whisper's recovery was remarkable. His fever broke on the second day, dropping back to normal and staying there. His appetite returned with a vengeance, and he ate every meal with enthusiastic, chirping commentary. The swelling in his leg decreased steadily, and through it all, he never stopped communicating, chirping when he wanted attention, making different sounds when he was hungry, tapping his 3-knock pattern when he needed something. Wildlife Officer Linda Pearson came by on the 4th day. When Marcus brought her to see Whisper eating his meal, and then chirping insistently to ask for more, she stood watching for a long time. "Dr. Bennett, I owe you an apology," she said finally. "I made my decision based on statistics. I forgot that each animal is an individual. This little one clearly has that fight. I'm withdrawing my euthanasia order and approving full rehabilitation support." Over the following months, as Whisper's leg healed perfectly and his strength returned, Marcus gradually introduced him to larger outdoor enclosures where he could practice climbing. He brought in live prey to reawaken Whisper's hunting instincts. The young Bobcat took to it all with natural grace, his movements becoming more powerful and confident with each passing week. He was becoming wild again. By late autumn, Whisper was ready. He'd started pacing the perimeter at night, calling out to the darkness. "It's time," Marcus told Jennifer. "He needs to go home." They drove deep into the national forest, far from roads. When Marcus opened the carrier, Whisper stepped out cautiously, taking in the sights and sounds of the wilderness. Then he walked back to Marcus and pressed his head against his leg, purring. He looked up and made his 3-knock pattern one last time. Marcus knelt down and tapped twice on the ground. "I need help. Help is coming." Whisper chirped once more, then turned and disappeared into the forest where he belonged. Weeks later, on a snowy morning, Marcus found a pine branch with a perfect pine cone on his clinic porch. Fresh tracks in the snow led back to the forest. Whisper had returned just for a moment to leave a gift, to say thank you. Marcus picked up the branch, tears streaming down his face. A reminder that sometimes, against all odds, a tiny creature fighting for its life finds exactly the help it needs. Did you enjoy this story? If you found a tiny injured bobcat cub and the authorities told you it had to be euthanized, would you risk everything to save its life anyway? Yes or no? Let us know in the comments below. If you like the story, subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.